and thanks for remaining with us on Africa Independent Television, AIT. Welcome to Democracy Today. I am Ijoma Osamor. Yes, it's 89 days, or you can call it 12 weeks or 4 months, to February 16, a day scheduled for the 2019 presidential election in Nigeria. It is now official. Electioneering has commenced for the 2019 elections. The dates for next round of general elections in Nigeria are drawing nearer, yet there are fears about the safety of lives and property before, during, and after the election. The deployment of immoderate, vulgar, and abusive language, as well as negligent tactics by the political gladiators to run down their opponents. Well, expectations are high that the campaigns will be issue-driven. Last night, we began analysis on the need to ensure peace throughout the period of electioneering by the political parties and their candidates. No fewer than 79 political parties are fielding presidential candidates. But as of tonight, one party, the Zenith Labour Party candidate, has stepped down and may be more likely to step down before February 19. Many of them may likely step down. And this was the advice given to some of these political parties and their candidates by the national chairman of the Zenith Labour Party, Dan Wanyawu. Yes, before we go, let me just take a little bit into what is going on in the ruling All Progressives Congress. There has been secret battle between the national chairman of the APC and the legal advisor. The crisis rocking the APC has continued to deepen as the party's national legal advisor, Babatunde Ogala, alleges that the party's national chairman, Adams Oshomole, was usurping and deliberately encroaching on his office. The allegation is contained in an internal memo dated November 6, 2018, that leaked from the party national secretariat. The memo confirmed the crack within the National Working Committee expected to coordinate the party's apparatus for the campaign towards the 2019 election. Ogala drew instances of usurpation from the briefing by the law firm of Didi Dodo and Co. in the case of Ugwamba Uche Musu versus APC without recourse to his office. And according to him, an affidavit in a matter involving All Progressives Congress and the Independent National Electoral Commission had been disposed by one Ibrahim Kabiru Masari, who is the National Welfare Secretary and purportedly to have been authorized by a claim Ogala said was not true. He also alleged that the national chairman of the APC had taken the case of Zamfara candidates who were rejected by the Independent National Electoral Commission beyond his office, which he described as shocking. Ogala said that he has brought the infraction to the notice of the APC chairman out of respect for the constitution of the party and for the internal cohesion of the National Working Committee, as they had the choice of going to court to dispose to an affidavit that the deponent was not saying the truth. He therefore warned in the memo that he would not sit back and watch his official and constitutional responsibility being usurped by the national chairman of the party. And when Ogala was contracted on phone on the veracity of the memo, he said he will not discuss internal issues of the party with outsiders. That's what he told us and the media. Then the chief press secretary to Adams Oshomole, Simon Ibebule, was not forthcoming on any reaction about the memo, asking us to contact the originator of the memo. That's the latest today. At times, we just wonder how some of these internal memos happens to leak out. Don't know. There was one that even leaked out, the one written to INEC by the same All Progressives Congress. It also leaked out, and Nigerians saw it. And, well, it's one of those things. Internal party squabble makes the party stronger. So we're hoping that the ruling All Progressives Congress will definitely try before elections to amend or to settle some of these internal squabbles. INEC Director of Publicity and Voter Education, Oluwole Osaze-Ozi, who was on this program on Saturday night, said today marks the start of full electioneering. And according to INEC's timetable and schedule of activities for the 2019 election, in line with Section 99, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. The period of campaigning in public by every political party shall start on the and it will take 90 days before polling day and end 24 hours prior to that day. The Commission cautioned candidates and their parties to run campaigns devoid of rancor, hate, and inflammatory speeches. But are the candidates and their supporters ready to run issue-based campaigns? Are there signs that electioneering will be peaceful? These are some issues we shall concentrate on the program tonight as we continue. Now, to do that, I am being joined in the studio by, let me start with the spokesman of IPAC, that Intra-Party Council, I think so.
Advisory Council.
Intra-Party Advisory Council, IPAC. The spokesman of IPAC is Ikenga Imo Uguchinyere, and he's also a lawyer. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're also the chairman of Action People's Party. Welcome to Democracy Today. And I have also the spokesman of another young party. People call it the young party, but I see them as a party that goes beyond the young. They also have the older ones there. The Young Progressives Party is right here with me. I have Wale Martins. You're welcome to Democracy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Gemma.
Yeah. And we also have the national chairman of the DPP, National Chairman Gasham Bensi. You're welcome to Democracy Today.
Thank you, yes.
Yes, let me start with you, Ikenga Imo, as a spokesman of IPAC. Today, electioneering starts. Different political parties are already aware that they have to go out there. Either they see themselves in the soapbox with their rhetorics, trying to canvass for vote, trying to win the hearts of voters. Are we expecting a peaceful process from all the political parties?
Well, first of all, the start of campaign is a constitutional process. And the laws have taken care of issues that are going to arise because we're dealing with human beings. And this is a serious political season, and the stakes are too high. You will not completely see full compliance, even though that is what we're advocating for at the level of IPAC, to see full compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act. But because the law knows that there's going to be violation, that is why from Section 92 to Section 101 of the Electoral Act, enabling provisions have been provided to take care of issues that will arise during the course of campaign, whether it's threat, whether it's incitement, whether it's violence, whether it's a denial of equal opportunities like access to the media and so on and so forth. The laws have taken care of the penalties that will occur when people violate this law. So it's not going to be 100%, but we're expecting that the political players will comply. But it's not just about the electioneering campaign. Electioneering campaign is just an part of the process that will lead us to a free and fair election. There's other component parts, like the EU will tell you on the benchmark, which has to do with the enabling legal framework, the issue of the unbiased nature of the electoral umpire, and then access and equal opportunity both for the person that wants to vote and the people that want to be voted for. These are what comes together to make you have a transparent and free and fair process. It's not just about the campaign, because even when you finish the campaign, if at the end of the day the final result that will come out is tainted, that destroys the entire process. And what most times instigates this desperation is when people feel that they are not going to be protected by the enabling laws, or there is no enabling laws, then they try to take it upon themselves to find a way from electioneering campaign down to the balloting itself. And that is why at the level of IPAC, we have one great major concern, which is the Electoral Act that we're going to use for this election. And this is, tomorrow will make it 89 days to the election. And the Electoral Act is sitting right on the table of Mr. President as I speak to you now. If there's anything that we should consider more important, even more than peaceful electionary campaign, is to sign the enabling law. Because this law, remember, from February 14th, this law, when the two chambers harmonized it and sent to the president, he waited for 30 days to expire. And that was in March. He rejected it. The parliament amended it and expunged the section 25 that has to do with sequence of election. Even though the appeal court has said parliament have power to fix sequence of election, but they have expunged it. And they sent it back to him. That was August 3rd. And you see how the president waited again till September. He rejected it at the end of 30 days. Now, parliament have amended it again and sent back to him since November. So now, what's Mr. President doing? Are you going to wait till the midnight of 30 days by next month for you to reject it? By that time, it will be too late for them to go back to amend it. Because whatever you are looking at now, can't you look at it from now to Tuesday or Wednesday and make a decision? And we're already hearing that it will not be signed because there's an ECOWAS protocol. You know about the ECOWAS protocol? There's this ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance that the head of state of ECOWAS signed in 2011. Article 2 of the protocol said that nations should not make substantial commence amendment of any substantial aspects of the electoral act 6 months to the election without the consent of the major political stakeholders. But in this case, the process started 1 year ago. So it's not something that we're starting, outside the provisions of the ECOWAS protocol, because we're hearing rumors that the next reason the president will use is that, the ECOWAS protocol forbids that. And I know the president will not do that, because after all, there's other ECOWAS protocol on the ECOWAS court and so on and so forth that have even given rulings on the cases of Dasuki and others. So if you can obey, so let's not bring in ECOWAS protocol into this. So what I'm trying to say in effect that if we don't have the enabling law for the election, this is 98 days to the presidential election. And this law we're talking about, is important Nigerians know that there are some beautiful things in this law that is very important. Go to that law and check section 49 to 52 that makes card reader as the medium for accreditation constitutional, meaning that if you are not accredited by the card reader, there will be no incident form, you cannot vote. So this will remove these issues of, stolen PVCs and all those kind of funny things that normally happens. And not only that, if for any reason that voting did not commence because the card reader is faulty in this particular area, if by 3 hours to the end of pool, there is no replacement card reader, the election will be shifted to the next day. That means that card reader becomes constitutional. And in any case, there is dispute as a result of the outcome of the election. You collect the back end a printout of the card reader as a satisfactory copy for your litigation. So what the electoral officers will transmit in the field and what they will give you physically must rhyme with what they have on the card reader provision. And also there's another brief provision that before you commence voting, that the INEC officer at the polling unit must record all the material that you have, including the serial numbers, and political parties will sign. Failure not to do so, that renders the election null. There's a lot of beautiful things in that law that makes it something that should be of urgent national importance that will sign this law now that we're 89 days to election. Or we'll return back to 2015 where you use incident form. You remember the issue of incident form. And in Kano, in Kaduna, over 1 million people voted with incident form. And all those funny things that happened. But,
Ugochinyere, the president didn't say he will not sign the law.
Ijoma,
you heard from
Yes, Ijoma, I'm saying this because I've told you from February 14th it was sent to him. He waited for the midnight of the 30 days and rejected. It was sent back to him after the correction he raised. He waited for midnight. You can see the funny wait.
We know about those.
Yes, so now that is why the stakeholders are raising the concern that if 89 days to election, President Mohamed Buhari is sitting right in Asarok where they are paying him, and he has not considered this law of urgent importance.
What happened after 30 days if that law is, if that act is not, if the bill is not assented to by the president, the National Assembly also has the power to veto the president.
And now that we have even started an electionary campaign, you can even see most of Parliament doesn't even form quorum.
So you don't blame the president.
No, what I'm saying is that for a man who is promising that the biggest legacy is going to give us is free and fair election, and 89 days to election, the critical component of that, your promise, which is the enabling law for the election, you are sitting right there where they are paying. You have not even considered urgent of national importance.
We'll still come back.
Maybe he needs an executive order to make it happen immediately.
Now, Mr. Gershon, let's look at electioneering. He is talking about the law, the bill before the president. If that is not passed, is that the reason why we will not have peaceful electioneering?
Well, it's not the only reason.
No, you're even saying not the only,
yes,
but one of the reasons.
Yes, one of the reasons, because the reason is simple. Here in AIT, you complied with the existing laws before you were even registered, before you were given a certificate to operate as a television house. And since there was need to amend the existing law, and all the major political parties took part in its amendment, they were all in the National Assembly. And first rejection, second rejection. There must be a foundation for whatever thing you want to do. So not signing it is not too good for what we're doing. And if you don't want to sign it, you reject it early enough and state another reason so that this further amendment can equally be taken.
Now, which other reason do you think the president can state? Because I remember that they expunged a lot of sections from that.
It's difficult. The ones he rejected, he said the reasons. That is why we're asking if there is any further new reason, let us state it now. There is still enough time to go into it. Now, okay, if you reject assent in a good time, fine. But if it is not timely, like we're looking at 90 days, today is 18, campaign has officially started, so it's less than 90 days to the election. And then if now you take the next 30 days before you withdraw your assent, and then you now begin to gather every members of National Assembly to come back and begin the process to veto the Mr. President assent, you can say that. I wonder if
would that not be distracting?
That house
some of them are candidates.
Yes, they are candidates, and they may not even have form a quorum because everybody is interested. So if you don't have enabling environment to do whatever you want to do, it's difficult. So the electoral law is critical to whatever we're doing.
Peaceful election.
Because even the campaign you are talking about is equally captured in the electoral law. And so the polling process is captured there. Even election spending is equally captured there. Political parties accounting reporting is equally captured there. So you can see that the whole lot of what we're doing is premised on the electoral law. So you can see it's a problem. If that law was still in the books in the National Assembly, fine, you say, oh, they've not concluded. But this one, the two chambers have been able to harmonize their positions and transmitted it back again. I'm sure this is about the third time they are doing the same thing. So what's supposed to be our problem?
Yes, Mr. Wale.
Yeah.
Is that a reason why we will not have peaceful electioneering?
I think it's a foundational reason.
Wow.
Very, very fundamental. You can't build something on nothing. And I want to say that it wasn't as if the 2015 election was all perfect. And that necessitated the need for there to be an amendment to the current electoral law. And in any case, there's no nation around the world that is static. You continue to evolve and seek better ways of doing things. And that is what has led to the reason why this has been done. And personally, it's not too good enough that the president has not come out openly to actually give reasons why he has not assented to that bill. And if there are reasons, let him come out openly or let him reject it so that the National Assembly will do the needful. But it's very, very important that we get this right. As I've said, it's fundamental, it's foundational for a credible election in 2019.
Then what about if the president comes out tomorrow to say, sorry, I cannot sign this bill into law for reasons A, B, C? What happens to the process? We still go back to what happened in 2015?
No. I think the National Assembly has got the powers, the overriding powers. It doesn't matter, whatever the president, whatever, in any case, that is just a kind of opportunity for the president to be able to write his name in gold. And if he refuses to do it, the National Assembly will go ahead and take the glory. They will override his veto.
National Assembly that cannot even form a quorum?
On this case, they will form a quorum.
Really?
They know, yes.
You know them that much?
I'm not here, I'm not holding forth for them, but I know my brothers here will agree with me that it's very, very important that this is at the heart of national discourse. Is the pivot of the success of the 2019 election, and they understand that. And most of them, in any case, might not return. And this is another opportunity.
Might not. They are some of them are candidates. Okay,
yeah,
except for those who already know that
you're a candidate. You're a candidate does not mean you will win an election.
But they are always optimistic that they will win election.
No, for every candidate, that has always been the notion that you will win an election. There's nothing wrong with being optimistic. Optimism is a very good instrument for success. you know. But at the same time, I want to say that for as many that will return and those that will not return, is an opportunity for them to collectively write their name in gold.
So the law, if they don't sign it, is sacrosanct. It must be signed.
It's important. It addresses a lot of things, a lot of flaws that we witnessed in 2015 general election. You know, it wasn't a whole perfect election, as I said earlier on. The issue of the incidence form that came to the fore during the 2015 election, you can imagine where states like Kano, Rivers were churning out figures. Most of them were based on the issue of incidence form being used. If you are trying to analyze rigging, there is no rigging that is more than that. You understand, when you begin to get more than 100% voters turnout, how does it happen? It doesn't happen anywhere in the world except in Nigeria. So if this present electoral act is addressing that, I think it is very, very important that beyond every other thing, that the president assent
to that bill
with immediate effect.
Now, there's something in that bill. If the president says, I am not going to append my signature on this bill, there's something I want to bring to all of you, and I need you to give me, especially you, you're a lawyer, and I know that you're also a lawyer.
No, I'm
okay,
not
you're not. You're a lawyer. So I like to ask this question. In 2015, INEC conducted well over 91 by-elections. So most of them came from court judgments after post-election crisis and all that. And now we are, even before the elections, people are already in court. You see that the party primary issue has been hitting up the polity. Now let's look at what happens if this bill is not passed into law by the president, is not signed into law by the president, and what happened to card reader, because there's a Supreme Court judgment on that card reader issue.
Very simple. The president is setting the stage for electoral hiatus. We will return back. It will be like returning us to Kokoma democracy, because what he wants
returning us to
what we call Kokoma democracy, it's going to be a will of the mighty. So this, let me like just like you said, 90 reruns and by-elections and so on.
Yes.
There is something in that law, section 34 of that law, that buries part of the things that caused most of the wrong that came as a result of exclusion. Section 34 of the amended electoral act that the president have not yet signed is saying that before we go to printing of ballot papers, INEC is going to call political parties to inspect their ballots on their logo on the ballot. Yes. If you have any objection, maybe the way they turned the head or something, you didn't like it, or the way they wrote the name, you raise objection within 7 days. If you don't raise the objection within 7 days, you have it's deemed that you have slept over your rights. You're not going to come back, assuming they print it with your logo turned upside down, to take us to exclusion that will lead to rerun. Most of 2/3 of the rerun was a result of exclusion. Even we hear that some people even arrange the rerun so that they can have a second chance at the ballot. The law now said 7 days before, you're giving 7 days after you see any difference with your ballot, then you raise the objection, then INEC will reflect before they do the final printing. So they're going to show us the dummy. So if this is not done, it means that there's going to be a lot of reruns. And also, issues that has to do with overvoting or declaring a result when the total number of accreditation does not tally what you are declaring. Under section 67 of the same bill, it's saying that before the returning officer or the collation officer makes the announcement, you are going to check the total number of accreditation and result from the polling unit, not the one from the ward collection center. You tabulate with the polling unit to be sure that what you are about to declare, the figures are the same. And if for any reason you go ahead to make a declaration, the excuse of typographical error will not arise here. That if you make it, that upon conviction is 7 years imprisonment with option of no fine. Yeah. So if you go and give a returning officer money, and he knows that once he makes the calculation and one will be missing, that he's going to go for 7 years. Most returning officers are not going to do the issue of changing of results.
They will not collect the money.
They will not do that. Then, where these political mafias will wait for people, collecting result to return to the next collection level, they shoot, they collect the materials. This will not arise, because before we start proceeding from the polling unit, the INEC officer at the polling unit, after the voting must have, we concluded, both the total number of accreditation and the result. The political party agent there will see it inside the corridor, and then he or she will transmit to the collection center before we start proceeding to the ward collection center and eligible collection. So the person that is waiting to shoot at the collection center, you're wasting your time, because the other one have been sent to the INEC collection center. And the law now says it's constitutional that after election, you make a request to INEC. Within 7 days, they give you the the back-end printout of the card reader, signing it and so on and so on. And that becomes something that you can tender in court. Just like you said about the Supreme Court ruling, where they say the card reader is not seen as a legal instrument. Now, those issues have been sorted out. So
in this bill.
So I'm going to use a certified true copy of the back-end printout of the card reader to proceed to the tribunal to say the election aside. And even goes to say, this one that normally chase people out when they are sharing material and call it sensitive material. The law demystified that. He said that all those things you call sensitive material, the party agents, before you start, is allowed to use video cameras, audio recording, anything they want to record them, including the serial numbers, before you proceed. And the law goes on to say again that even the person who is in charge of that polling unit, there's a sheet that you're going to use to record the serial numbers, the total number of material you have, counted before the agent, sign it and give us copies. And failure not to do that renders the election null and void. So how can you have this kind of law and then we'll leave it and we're talking about other issues? If there's anything that is important that the president needs to do right now, it's not because I'm in another political party. No, this is about something that is a legacy, is to sign the amended electoral act. And I will give you this to keep. Check this. This is the biometric accreditation of the 2015 election, where over 1.3 million votes that you have recorded in Kano came with incident form. Over 1 million in Kaduna came with 800,000 in Kaduna came with incident form. Over 1 million in Katsina came with incident form. And what is this incident form? You come to the polling unit with a child that is 2 years old, carrying a PVC, and she says she's the one that is on that PVC. And because you have seen the name on the PVC and you have seen it on the register, you give him or her ballot to go and cast, and then she will feed the incident form. But I bet in 2015, and I bet INEC, in 2015, and I bet INEC, do they have incident form that is up to 10 million that was used in 2015? Where is it? So you see, politicians can go and rig election and then say it's incident form and then start filling it before we go to tribunal. So this law, removes all this nonsense you are seeing that happened in 2015 and that is going to happen in 2019 if we don't do this. So that is why it is very important.
If this law is this important, and you are the spokesman of the IPAC, that's the umbrella body of most of the political parties, the council all the political parties, that's a council that looks into matters concerning political parties. And what are you doing? The president is a candidate too, and I'm very sure is interested because he is also going to be there. His name and his party will be on the ballots. So if the president that you think will not sign it is also a candidate that will be on the ballot, then that means he will not benefit from this good points that you just made. What is IPAC doing about it?
Okay, let me start with what the IPAC is doing. Yesterday, I got a call from the chairman of IPAC, Peter Mel, who informed me that he has called for meeting of IPAC. And the essence of the meeting is to engage, to write to INEC and then engage them for a discussion. We don't want to wait for the next interactive session political parties normally have with INEC. So we are requesting, Peter Mel, IPAC is trying to request from INEC an early meeting for us to also look at our backup plan, assuming even the president refuses to sign, on how to make the 2019 election crisis-free and to make it free, fair, and then credible. And coming to the issue of what the president is going to lose if the law is not signed. Let me tell you, look at that biometric analysis from INEC. You can see that the majority of the people that use incident form came from Katsina, came from Kano, came from Jigawa, came from Kaduna, came from Bauchi. And if you check the result of the 2015 election, the person that scored overwhelming in those areas is President Mohamed Buhari. So, but I don't want to believe because I don't want to believe that why people are pushing or agitating that he should not sign it is to enable or give room for people to go back and use incident form and shoot their way into office. I know he's a statesman. I know he has promised that he's going to bequeath a legacy of free and fair election. And I know what he went through from 2003, 2007, 2011, when he was fighting for his mandate, and the problems he had in the Supreme Court because he couldn't have even the right materials to advocate his case. I don't think that he's going to, now that he has the opportunity to write his name in gold, that he's going to go the path of refusing, withholding assets for this historic law that will change the landscape of our political history.
All right, let's go to you, Mr. Gashim. We want to go straight into crisis during electioneering. Even before campaign starts, states like Rivers, there are some states where we have heard of recorded killings. Something happened in Rivers State about 2 days ago. A particular political party went to one village for sensitization to talk to their members, and 2 of their members were killed. And this is what we will see when campaign starts. Campaign has already started.
In fact, I happen to come from Rivers State. The incident happened in my local government, Ikwere local government. The community, where it happened, they call it Omademe, directly behind the Port Harcourt International Airport. And then on Friday, again, there was a similar sensitization, this time around the Nalu community. And when they are done, some people left, still called people, government, went to a particular village, tracing those that left the venue. And
the venue of the
rally. Because there's this operation, show your PVC.
Okay.
And before you know it, 6 persons were killed.
6?
Yes.
And I heard 2.
Still, that is the first one at Omademipo. This one is the Nalo, one community, another one again, in the same village again. Yesterday night, another 3 were killed. All politically motivated, court-related activities.
And now that they have started campaigns,
that is where the
what are we expecting from there?
Definitely, you can say that. Then the question is, are there no security there? And in each of these incidents, the local government chairman was there. And constitutionally, he has security. And the one that happened at Tipo, the policemen were equally there. The security were all there. And they were attacked in open rally. And if police could be there and such a thing happened, and nothing has happened up till now, no arrest has been made. And what we hear is that the same cult-related people are still the same one trailing the other one. At the end of the day, maybe no party might end up
going to the
River State because there must be a reprisal.
But as a national chairman of a political party, are you not concerned? River State is your state, and you have candidates there.
I said I am much more concerned because I'm talking about my local government now. I'm much more concerned. We've been able to approach all the security agencies, and you can't take laws into your hand. And the funny thing about it is that the police public relations officer in Port Harcourt started even defending the action even before doing any investigation.
Wow.
Very funny.
Then how do you not trust security personnel?
That is where the problem. And you know, River State is a theater when it comes to our current democracy. The last election, 2015, we had the highest number of rerun and violent incident that even affected everybody, including INEC officers. Even when they were caught on camera, and yet they were still let go. Some of those politicians who even involved in such situations were all promoted.
Now, what are the political parties doing, talking to their supporters? Because if they continue like this, River State is just one out of some states that is almost boiling. Somebody spoke with me today saying that some of these crises during campaigns, it's like they do it, so when election comes, INEC will say security in this area is not safe, then they push the election forward.
Well, you don't need to blame INEC. Okay, now, election is around the corner, full campaign has been declared officially, and you have this incident of killings and crisis here and there. And then for me, I'll be apprehensive if I'm working INEC to be sent to such an area. You must definitely double guarantee me of security before you think I want to go there. Look at the situation of killing of coppers in Bauchi the other time. And then who is happy about that? Because we want to do election. The question is, why must election become war in this part of the world? Why?
That's why, as a national chairman of a political party, and I'm happy that IPAC is here too, you need to, as stakeholders in this Nigerian politics, you need to talk to your supporters.
No, it's not only the supporters. IPAC has a plan to even engage the security agencies. It's not just enough for INEC to tell us they're holding stakeholders meeting with security agencies. The political parties now should be in a position to hold serious meetings or engage the security agencies, be it army, civil defense, or police. Because, one, we are campaigning based on our manifestos. We're asking Nigerians to vote us for what we are and what we're presenting to them. And the situation where some people feel they have money, they can pay court group, and by the time they come to where your safety is not guaranteed, people will run away. And only very few who they might decide to provide their own alternative security might stand in there and say they voted and result to be turned in.
So at the end of the day, some political parties will be afraid to even go to that your local government or your village.
It's not only my local government, across the country.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Before this time, I said we were here, I was in this studio. I was telling Nigerians, we're talking about election, yes. What of security? Now, if I work in INEC or whatever, will I go to Benue to say I'm going to do anything? I won't go. So I can't go to part of Zamfara. I won't go. And then the other time they said makeshift. There's people decide to vote inside the IDP camps in Maiduguri and all that. You gather people from different locations and all that. What kind of result do you think you want to get out of that place? So even going to do election in the northeast is even another problem of its own. So which part of the country is even that safe? Safe,
that is it. Mr. Wale?
Yes.
We have had inflammatory statements from political actors, gladiators, people who are high up in position, and that statement may not be good for a country like Nigeria, where you have diverse culture, diverse religion, and there are very volatile areas and states in Nigeria. So how do we control, how do you as a political party official control things that comes out from your candidates and their supporters during campaigns?
Well, I want to use the Young Progressives Party model. Personally, is a written constitution that campaigns should be issue-based. And then when we mean issue-based, we mean you should tackle issues, leave things that are irrelevant. We articulate to Nigerians what we've got to offer. And if there's an epitome of personality that represents that, is our presidential candidate, who has been going, the length and breadth of this country to campaign on issues.
No, he had started campaigning even before today.
No, no.
That's illegal.
Town hall meetings, holding town hall meetings.
That's illegal.
No. Town hall meetings, and then putting the issues to the fore. But that said, I feel Nigerians have got a role to play. And outside the political actors, trying to embrace issue-based campaign, there's a need for electorate also to reciprocate the same gesture. And when I'm saying there should be a positive reaction, where you see people begin to vote in the direction of people proffering solutions to situations. When you begin to rely on sentiment to vote for candidates, where Nigeria is today is where it has brought us to. And I want to tell you that nothing will change. This is how it will continue, except we, sit back, have a rethink, and see that the issue of development is not about where a particular leader comes from. It's about what that leader has got to offer. It's not only about charisma, it's also about capacity. Capacity to be able to deliver on electoral promises. And I begin to look at it, you see political campaigns where you see, mammoth crowds, and you see people come, the jamboree, and at the end of the day, they say nothing. You only see regurgitated speeches here and there from one state to another. No issue-based, campaign. Nobody's able to articulate this and these are things I will do. When you begin to see a situation where even the manifesto of the political party is quite different from the intentions of the candidates, you don't see any synergy. And that is why when you see candidates now eventually emerge as probably they win election, they begin to deny and tell you that they never knew that such was, put forward by their political party. So I think it's high time we began to approach campaign more seriously and let it be issue-based. If electorate also, based on the fact that you see people who do not offer what that is needed, you vote against them. Let your voting speak for you. If people vote out leaders who have got nothing to offer, I think leaders will begin to take electorates more seriously.
So are you saying that the electorate should pay attention to the statement from the candidates when they are campaigning and try to get a copy of their mandates and their blueprints?
Why not? Why not? I mean, why will you not pay attention? On what basis are you voting if you are not paying attention? Is it on the basis of ethnicity or on the basis of religion? How far has that taken us as a nation? Today, Nigeria is ranked as the poorest nation in the world. Based on what? Sentiment. On the Human Development Index, we are ranked 158 in the world. Based on what? Sentiment. And that is why you begin to interrogate and ask questions. And even if they now tell you that these are the things we have achieved, you interrogate those achievements. There are over 13.5 million children out of school as we currently speak in Nigeria. Yet you begin to see a government that is just offering paltry, just a little bit over 7% to education. To health is less than 5%. And you do not interrogate that. I traveled just yesterday between Edo and Abuja. Man, the road... No, in fact, it's worse than that. And I said there's a need for Nigerians to go for a psychiatric test. And why did I say so? I said because we see all these things and we are enjoying them. We do not interrogate. There's no revolution. And when I mean revolution, I am not saying we should
take to the streets.
Take to the street. No. There should be a kind of agreement that is going to be simultaneous with the ballot, and you vote against these leaders. That is the only. It's as if we are enjoying it. We are enjoying bad roads. We are enjoying. Look at the issue of power. For a government that told us that okay, that any reasonable government should be able to fix power in 6 months. Right now, the issue of power is even much more worse than we used to have, even when compared to our Jonathan administration that we tagged to be to have failed. So there's a need to ask questions, and when you ask questions, you make your judgment. Let it be an informed judgment based on the responses that are coming from these so-called candidates who are offering themselves, to be elected.
Yes, the president made a statement today when he launched his campaign, and is actually calling for people who are key players, politicians and Nigerians, to please try as much as possible to stop violence and allow peace to reign, that we are all the same Nigeria and this country belongs to us. Let's listen to the president.
As I always say, we have no other country but Nigeria. Let us not set it ablaze because of politics or sectional interests.
Yes, let us not do anything that will break us apart because of politics or sectional interest. That's the word from the president when he launched his campaign today. We hope that that will happen because there are some areas, even in 2015, 2014, when they go for campaigns, you see crowd. The kind of crowd, even some of them will observe stampede. And I ask myself, are there no other decent ways? I have seen campaigns in the US during the elections, and it was peaceful. Nobody died. There was no attack, nothing. Even when they are protesting, they don't take their protest that far. Is it that the kind of human beings in Nigeria are different from the human beings outside the country?
Yeah. Yeah.
But who do we blame in all of this? The politicians?
We blame our leaders.
Our leaders?
Yes, because one, the level of illiteracy is so high. I was in Ekiti. I saw the election. So many Nigerians have lost faith in our governance. And they now say, okay, this is my PVC. This 10,000 naira or 20 or 15. We know the next 4 years we're not expecting anything. And that's just it. But then they forget to know that it's a question of garbage in and garbage out. What you put there is what you're going to get. Time has come for our leaders to stop telling Nigerians lies. They will just bandy you on the television, beautiful road, infrastructure, achieve this, that, achieve that. But is it true?
But it's the duty of Nigerians to go.
That's why I said, no, but when the leaders have, for Nigerians are traumatized. There's a lot of apathy. If we have a true, demography of our population, you see that this coming election, the figure in 2015 will drop so many people might not be ready to come and vote. And so, what are they voting for? The same story you keep telling them right for independence till now. And the other time they say, oh, oil price dropped, Jonathan mismanaged, and now the oil price has come up. Is there any change in the things we do? So Nigerians, well, whatever they do, that is why we're looking at the new electoral law. In 2015, the Kano incident, before you talk about incident form, you just go, your biometric is not recognized by this thing. It's okay. Since your name is there and your fingerprint is not recognized, you fill this form. And by the time you give this thing to those that don't even have business with this thing, so what do you expect? So now that there's a provision for us to really know, if we are 10, let it be that 10 has come to vote. And let us know what the problem is.
Well, that depends on what you are to do. If you want the president to sign, IPAC, like I said,
no, like I
said, wake up from the slumber.
Definitely wait. No, we are going to engage both the president, because for now, it's no longer the problem of National Assembly. Mr. President should be able to explain to Nigerians why this bill is still being delayed up till now. He has to explain to us, because even if you are sent to the bill at a very late time, those in INEC are human beings, and you begin to implement a law you have not thoroughly studied, and you are taking it again to run an election. And ordinarily, everybody in each of the polling units supposed to be acquainted with the relevant section of that law, because you are going to implement the law as at that polling point, so that you know that I'm going to go to jail without option of fine if I happen to do this. There's going to be a lot of training. And then the political party, everybody's supposed to go home and then look at what it is. But now that you are just, everybody just on one straight jacket, IPAC definitely will engage Mr. President. Okay. And I'm sure the leadership will now write, Mr. President, we want to meet with you.
All right, gentlemen, we are still on to Democracy Today. We are looking at ensuring peaceful electioneering. Campaigns start today. And in another 90 days, this gladiators, candidates and their supporters and even political parties will be in a soapbox giving rhetorics and trying to win votes and also trying to woo voters to their side. But how do they want to go about this? Anyway, INEC has laws for now, even if the bill is yet to be signed by the president. The existing one talked about campaigns, and if you commit anything against the law, there are fines to be paid. We'll take a break, but remember, you have to join us or follow us on our Twitter handle at Democracy Today, and also follow me on my Twitter handle at EG Osamor. So we'll just take one or two of your message. When we return after this break, let's get to see some of these laws and the punishment for breaking the law of campaign financing and campaigns. Well, those are some of our laws governing electioneering in Nigeria. And just like we're talking about the finance, campaign finance, remember yesterday the INEC spokesman that's talking about the Director of Publicity and Voter Education, Uluwole Osaze-Ozi, made it clear that that law only stands for candidates, the amount of money a candidate is supposed to spend during campaigns. So political parties can as well spend above that. Now, the law is very important. Just like you said, that the bill before the president needs to be passed. Now, we have about 3 minutes to go on the program. Let's find out, how do we make this president sign this law? Sign the bill into law?
Well, first of all, it's for Nigerians to start screaming now, asking President Muhammad Buhari, give us the law for our election in the next 98 days. Whatever you are doing inside that Sorok, stop right now and look at the law. If there's any objection, raise it this week and let the parliament correct it. Then if there is no objection, then sign it. Don't go and tell us about the ECOWAS protocol, because the law that was amended confirmed with the provisions of Article 2 of the ECOWAS. And another thing, with or without the law, is the issue of security. And I will say this without any fear of favor. The way the Nigerian police force, led by the Inspector General Idris, is going, is not, political parties are not comfortable with that. The police have not been able to show convincingly their neutrality. Starting from Rivers, when they were breaking the heads of the returning officer that you saw on TV, to Oshun, where they were chasing some people and the police were there, to what happened yesterday in Kwara, where they were arresting chieftains of other political parties. Let the police stay clear from politics. Let the IG tell his men to stay clear. No matter the favor, whoever made him the Inspector General of Police, he should know that these institutions are supposed to be institutions of honor and decency, like you have the police force in different parts of the country. Because if the security agencies do not stay neutral when we go to 2019, this will lead to a lot of crises. And finally, I am begging President Muhammad Buhari, as a Nigerian, and someone who has great stake in this country, look at the Electoral Act. Forget about party issues. If it is in the interest of this country and our democracy, sign it. And if there's any objection, raise it when there's still time. Don't wait for midnight of the 30 days, which is by December, and then you come and tell us either the ECOWAS protocol or maybe there is a sequencing or something in it. This law is very important, and without it, I'm telling you that 2019 is going to be something that is very painful, that even 1983 and 1963 might be a child's play.
One of our viewers just sent a message. Mordecai Ibrahim on the Twitter, it says the president should be told in clear terms that he has no choice but to give assent to the electoral law, because it will go a long way to prevent massive rigging. So why is President Muhammadu Buhari afraid of these modified electoral acts? That's the question he's asking. But that question has to go to the president. I don't think he's afraid of the act. I don't think he's afraid. And the man also said a clean copy of the Electoral Act is central to the 2019 election. And has since the electoral bill is not yet an act, and since being forwarded to the president, but since it was transmitted, Nigerians have not heard anything on it. It is not clear that there is something hidden. It is now clear that there's something hidden by the president. Now we have about a minute to go now. Let's look at the advice that you have for your supporters as a national chairman of the political party.
Well, our supporters is always, we advise ourselves to conduct ourselves properly, and then campaigns should be issue-based, and then the electorate should equally look at what political parties are giving to them. Vote us according to your conscience and based on what we have brought to the table. It's no question of zoning Nigeria and all that. What people are now talking about is 2023. The president is going to come from a social place. We're not looking at capacity, we're not looking at performance, we're not looking at the game changers that were brought to bear as it is now. So we have a lot of credible candidates that can turn Nigeria around. Okay. There are good managers that you can call them turnaround or crisis manager. As it is now, what we have on ground have shown that they don't have the capacity to leave Nigeria beyond where we are. Okay, now YPP. So what's the advice to your supporters?
Yes, personally, beyond our supporters, I want to tell all Nigerians that you only reap what you sow. You know, you don't expect to sow, you know, in bad governance. That is by electing those that you know they are not competent. And at the end of the day, you want development. You can't get development. You know, so I want to advise that even to candidates as well, let this campaign be issue-based. Tell us what you've got to offer. Tell us solutions to problems. The party in power should come and tell us what they have achieved, and let those achievements be interrogated. And electorates in turn should vote based on what the candidates have got to offer. Look beyond this issue of ethnicity and religion. Don't allow sentiment to sway your vote, but allow competence, capacity to sway your vote. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is where we'll call it a day on the program. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. is another time for us to engage in issues. Tomorrow, we'll be going to Niger State. Because last Sunday, an honorable was here, and he also made some very, very I don't want to use name that you won't like, but some allegations that are not too palatable to the ears. And now the government is coming to give their own side of the story. So you just stay with us tomorrow where we listen to what happened during the party primaries in Niger State. Tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Until then, follow me on my Twitter handle at EJ Osamor. Good night.